Hannah was 13 years old and lived with her parents in a quiet suburb on the outskirts of a small city. Their house was modest but cozy, painted a soft shade of yellow with white shutters and a welcoming front porch. Inside, it had two bedrooms, a comfortable living room filled with family photos and books, and a compact kitchen where the family often gathered to cook and chat. Behind the house stretched a small backyard. It was mostly a patch of plain grass, dotted with a few smooth stones and bordered by a wooden fence. There were no trees, no flowers, and no garden. Just an open space that seemed to Hannah like a blank canvas waiting to be transformed. Every day after school, Hannah would sit by her bedroom window, gazing out at the empty backyard. She imagined it bursting with vibrant flowers, lush green plants, and perhaps even some vegetables that she could grow and eat. The idea of creating something beautiful and alive excited her. One afternoon, as the golden rays of the setting sun bathed the backyard in warm light, Hannah decided to share her idea with her mother. She found her mother in the kitchen, peeling apples for a pie. The sweet aroma filled the room. "Mom," Hannah began hesitantly, "I've been thinking about our backyard. It's so empty. Do you think maybe I could start a small garden?" Her mother looked up, her eyes twinkling with interest. "A garden? That sounds like a wonderful idea, Hannah. What would you like to grow?" Hannah's face lit up. "I was thinking of planting some flowers, like sunflowers, and maybe some vegetables, like cherry tomatoes or carrots. I think it would be fun to grow our own food." Her mother wiped her hands on a towel and smiled warmly. "I think that's a fantastic plan. Gardening is a great way to learn patience and responsibility. Why don't we go to the garden center this weekend and pick out some seeds and tools?" "Really? That would be great. Thanks, Mom," Hannah exclaimed, excitement bubbling inside her. On Saturday morning, Hannah and her parents drove to the local garden center. It was a large, colorful place filled with rows of blooming flowers, leafy green plants, and shelves stocked with gardening supplies. Hannah felt a surge of joy as she walked through the aisles, taking in the scents of fresh soil and fragrant blossoms. She carefully examined packets of seeds, each adorned with pictures of the plants they would become. After much deliberation, she selected bright yellow sunflowers, sweet cherry tomatoes, and crunchy orange carrots. Her father suggested adding some herbs like basil and mint, which would be easy to grow and useful in cooking. They also picked out essential gardening tools: a small shovel, a trowel, a rake, a watering can, and gloves that fit Hannah perfectly. The gloves were light green with tiny flower patterns, matching the lively spirit of her new project. Back at home, Hannah couldn't wait to get started. She changed into old clothes, put on her gloves, and stepped into the backyard. The sun was shining brightly, and a gentle breeze carried the scent of freshly cut grass. Her father joined her, bringing out a wheelbarrow filled with compost and soil. "First, we need to prepare the ground," he explained. "We'll loosen the soil and mix in some compost to help the plants grow strong." Together, they marked out two separate areas, one for the flowers and one for the vegetables. They used sticks and string to outline the garden beds. Then they began digging, turning over the hard soil to make it soft and fertile. It was hard work, and Hannah's arms grew tired, but she felt a deep sense of satisfaction with each shovelful of earth. Her mother brought out lemonade and sandwiches for lunch. They sat on the grass, enjoying the meal and discussing where each plant would go. "Sunflowers grow tall, so they should be at the back," her mother suggested. "Tomatoes need support, so we can place them near the fence. Carrots can go in front since they don't take up much space above ground." After lunch, they resumed work. Hannah carefully planted the seeds according to the instructions on the packets. She dug small holes, placed the seeds gently inside, and covered them with soil. She labeled each row with handmade signs crafted from popsicle sticks, writing the names of the plants in colorful markers. When all the seeds were planted, she filled her watering can and gave the soil a gentle shower. Remember to water them every day, but not too much, her father advised, and be sure to watch out for weeds. Over the next few days, Hannah established a routine. Every morning before school, she would check the moisture of the soil and water the plants if needed. In the afternoons, she would remove any weeds and observe any changes. At first, the garden looked the same, and Hannah felt a bit impatient. One evening at dinner, she sighed and said, "I've been watering and weeding, but nothing is happening. Did I do something wrong?" Her mother reached across the table and squeezed her hand. "Growing a garden takes time, sweetheart. The seeds are busy developing roots underground. You can't see it yet, but they're working hard. Be patient." Hannah nodded, trying to be hopeful. "I guess I just expected to see something by now." "Good things often take time," her father added. "Just keep taking care of them." A week later, Hannah woke up to a sunny morning. She quickly dressed and hurried outside. As she approached the garden beds, she noticed tiny green shoots poking through the soil. Her heart leaped with joy. "Mom, Dad, come quick," she called out. Her parents joined her, smiles spreading across their faces. "Look, they're growing," Hannah exclaimed, pointing at the delicate sprouts. "That's wonderful," her mother said. "Your hard work is paying off." Over the following weeks, Hannah's garden began to flourish. The sunflowers grew taller each day, their sturdy stems reaching toward the sky. The tomato plants developed rich green leaves, and the carrot tops sprouted delicate fronds. Hannah continued to care for her garden diligently. She learned to tie the tomato plants to small stakes for support, using soft ties to avoid damaging the stems. She researched natural ways to keep pests away, making a simple spray from water and mild soap to deter insects. One afternoon, her neighbor, Mrs. Thompson, leaned over the fence. "Hello, Hannah. Your garden is looking lovely," she said kindly. "Thank you," Hannah replied, feeling proud. "It's my first time gardening." "Well, you're doing a fantastic job. Keep it up." At school, Hannah's classmates began to notice her newfound enthusiasm. During lunch, a girl named Lily sat next to her. "I heard you're growing sunflowers and tomatoes," Lily said. "That's so cool. I love sunflowers." Hannah smiled. "Thanks. It's been a lot of fun. Maybe you can come over and see them sometime." "I'd like that," Lily replied. "Maybe we can plant something together." As the sunflowers began to bloom, Hannah was amazed at their beauty. The large yellow petals surrounded dark centers, and they seemed to smile at the sun. She loved watching them sway gently in the breeze. The tomato plants bore small yellow flowers, which soon transformed into tiny green tomatoes. Hannah watched them grow, turning from green to a rich, vibrant red. The day finally came when they were ready to be picked. "Mom, can we harvest the tomatoes today?" Hannah asked eagerly. "Absolutely. Let's do it together," her mother agreed. They went out to the garden with a basket. Hannah carefully picked the ripe tomatoes, placing them gently inside. They also pulled up a few carrots, brushing off the soil to reveal their bright orange color. Back in the kitchen, they washed the vegetables. Hannah bit into a cherry tomato, savoring its sweet, juicy flavor. "These are the best tomatoes I've ever tasted," she declared. Her mother laughed. "Homegrown vegetables always taste better." They prepared a fresh salad for dinner, adding lettuce and cucumbers from the market. The family sat down to enjoy the meal. "This is delicious," her father said, taking a bite. "Great job, Hannah." "Thanks, Dad," she replied, her cheeks glowing with happiness. Encouraged by her success, Hannah decided to share her harvest with others. She filled small baskets with tomatoes and carrots and delivered them to neighbors and friends. Mrs. Thompson was delighted. These look wonderful, dear. Thank you. In return, here are some of my homemade cookies. Hannah also brought a basket to school for her teacher, Mrs. Collins. Thank you, Hannah. These will be perfect for our class snack tomorrow, Mrs. Collins said. The next day, the class enjoyed the fresh vegetables during snack time. Many students complimented Hannah on her gardening skills. Maybe we could start a school garden, one boy suggested. That's a great idea, Mrs. Collins agreed. Would you like to help lead the project, Hannah? Hannah felt a surge of excitement. I'd love to. Over the next few weeks, Hannah worked with her classmates and teacher to plan the school garden. They chose a sunny spot on the school grounds and decided which vegetables and flowers to plant. Students took turns caring for the garden, learning about teamwork and responsibility. One afternoon, as Hannah and Lily were planting seeds together, Lily said, "I'm really glad you started gardening. It brought us all together." "Me too," Hannah agreed. "I never knew gardening could be so rewarding." At home, Hannah decided to expand her own garden. She planted new seeds, peas, lettuce, and strawberries. She also added a small bird feeder to attract birds, enjoying their cheerful songs as she worked. One evening, as the sun was setting, Hannah sat on the back porch with her parents. The garden was alive with colors: the bright yellow sunflowers, the deep green of the vegetable plants, and the soft hues of the herbs and new flowers. "You've created something truly special here," her father said softly. "I couldn't have done it without your help," Hannah replied. Her mother put an arm around her. "We're so proud of you, Hannah. You've shown dedication, patience, and kindness." Hannah smiled, feeling content. "I've learned that when you take care of something, it grows. Not just plants, but friendships and communities, too." Her father nodded. "That's a valuable lesson." As the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, Hannah felt a deep sense of fulfillment. She thought about all that she had accomplished: the garden, the new friendships, the school project. She realized that her simple desire to plant seeds had blossomed into something much greater. "Do you think I could become a real gardener someday?" she asked. Her mother squeezed her shoulder. "I think you can be anything you want to be. You have the passion and the heart for it." Hannah gazed out at her garden one more time before heading inside. She knew that this was just the beginning of her journey. With each new day, she looked forward to growing not only plants, but also her dreams and aspirations. That night, she fell asleep with a smile, dreaming of sunflowers reaching toward the sky and the endless possibilities that lay ahead.